Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. Today is gonna be a fun little video for you. On the other side of the camera, I'm unveiling a project that I'm gonna be working on over the next, I don't know, hopefully only a few months, but it's gonna be an ongoing project, but hopefully I can get it at least going in the next couple of months. It's no big surprise because I'm guessing I showed it in the thumbnail and the title, but I'll show you here in a second. I probably just got done doing the barn video as well. I'm not sure which way I'll upload them, but two fun project videos that we got going on the channel. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about the vehicle. I'll walk you through it, show it all. I'll also give some backstory about kind of what led up to the purchase of it, why I decided to go this route. I don't know, maybe give you some other takeaways, but without too much further ado, here it is, the future of the LLOD family adventures. Kind of a quirky, funny looking thing. We'll go through all the specs and I'll kind of, again, tell you what led me to the purchase of it. But it's a 2011 F550, notably with a power stroke, 6.7 power stroke, and factory 4x4. So it's kind of a unicorn. So this is a total piece of crap. Actually, I got it relatively dirt cheap and sight unseen. It was in Miami, Florida. I bought it. I had it delivered. It was kind of a big gamble for me, honestly. But I had been searching for a similar vehicle for a couple of months, and I'll kind of talk to you about what made me land on this vehicle versus a couple of other options that I was exploring. It's super quirky and weird on this side. I'm gonna need to do some modifications. So I'll talk you through all of that in this video, but big gamble, and that is it. So I'm gonna kind of go through, not really walk through all my other vehicles, but one vehicle that this is kind of gonna be replacing in some sense is my van. I'm gonna keep my van for a little bit, but I just needed something a little bigger. Look at this. This is you can't really tell on camera, but this is a massive step. And here is where I'm gonna be, the old party bus driver. You know what there is none of up here wildly is not a single cup holder. So I'm gonna need to make some modifications to this baby so that way I can put my AG1 drink, which brings us to our sponsor of today's video, AG1. So AG1, if you don't know, Foundational Nutrition, they've been sponsoring a handful of videos lately. Huge shout out and appreciation to them. It's basically a powder that you just mix with water. I'll show you here in a second, filled with all kinds of stuff. More info you can find on their website, actually at drinkag1.com/LLOD, but it's just a super easy daily habit. Prebiotics, probiotics, vitamins, everything. And that kind of comes in hugely handy, especially for Christmas and the winter months here where you're hanging around family a bunch and going to events and exchanging gifts and doing all kinds, you're busy, not sleeping enough, and it'll help with everything. And some of the reasons I drink it, other than it's just stupid easy to do every day, is for immunity support, gut health with all the pre and probiotics in there, focus and energy. So it's really as simple as getting some water, scooping a serving, shake it around, drink it down. So easy, you don't have to worry about eating a half dozen horse pills every day. That's it, and you're good. And if you go to drinkag1.com/LLOD, they're actually gonna give you $20 off your subscription and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free travel packets on your first sign up. So yeah, huge shout out to AG1. Thanks for your continued support here on the channel. and back to the video. But yeah, can you believe that? No freaking cup holders. I don't know what the previous bus driver did in here, like to hold their drink, but nothing in here. We'll get deeper into this in a second. Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. So anyway, what we have back in here, yes, for those keen-eyed, that's a Golf R. I'm gonna be selling my G, unfortunately. But what we've had as the family adventure mobile for a while is this Jayco Terrain 4x4. It's a full RV, actually. I think it's locked out here. No, it's not. So it's a full RV build, bed, bathroom, everything you could ever want based on the Jayco, or based on the Sprinter 4x4 platform. This is a little diesel motor in here, and it's been great. It's such a cool rig, like probably the vehicle that I guess asked questions about at the gas station or whatever more than any other vehicle. We did up this custom topo wrap that Lucid installed, and this is a topography pattern that my friend Gabe made, and then I kind of picked the sage green color scheme, fully outfitted, backwoods bumpers, everything all around, winch. We got roof rack, solar panels, awning, wee boost, Pelican cases, owl vans, rear carrier stuff, ladder, like rear backwoods. I mean, this thing is amazing. And whenever I get rid of a vehicle, people always assume there was a problem with it or something, but it's really just a little small. So as you guys probably know, Ashley and I have been adventuring in whatever, you know, in the Land Cruiser or the Tacoma. I had a Treyu, and Ashley had a daughter when we were just dating. She's 13 now, Isabella. She's technically my stepdaughter, though people hate when I call her my stepdaughter. And not that my personal life is any of your guys' business, but her dad is still very much in her life, and I'm very much her stepdad, or people like to call it a bonus dad. But anyway, the only reason I mention that is we don't always have Isabella. So a lot of times her dad will have her on the weekends, and Ashley and I would just be adventuring out, just the two of us and the dogs, kind of like we don't have kids, so to speak, on our travels. But we want to start taking Isabella with us on longer trips. And then additionally, Ashley and I had a baby. He's almost a year old now, Cooper. And then we have two dogs. So what was a great vehicle for a lot of our adventures, and we had taken Isabella, we went to Zion, we went to the sand dune, we did a lot of stuff in this vehicle, and it was a pretty tight squeeze with two adults, two dogs, one of my dogs 100 pounds, plus Isabella in this thing, making the sleeping arrangement work out. And now we added Cooper to the mix. So this vehicle's kind of like, can work with Ashley and me and Cooper and the two dogs, but even that's a little bit tight. But once we add Isabella to the mix, it's really, this thing is way too cramped for that. So like the Tacoma and then the LX550 that I'm building out to kind of be an adventure rig, those will be great for kind of shorter trips and whatnot, but this is a little bit small if we want to do longer road trips. Ashley really wants to go see a lot of national parks. We want to go see the redwood. I've been to most of them, actually. My parents, fortunately, when I was younger, took me to a lot of national parks, and I've been to a lot of others in my adult life as well. But Ashley hasn't been to as many as she wants, so we're kind of like want to make a sweet vehicle that we can do some off-grid adventures with, but also do like longer road trips and see national parks and whatnot like that. So all that to say, even though this is an incredible, incredible vehicle, we've outgrown it a bit. So this will probably be for sale, and it has almost no miles. I think it has less than 10,000 miles on it. So again, I'm not trying to use my channel to sell stuff, but if you're a subscriber and you're interested in this, shoot me an email, mike@LLOD.us. I think we're gonna use it for a few more trips. I'm not in any like rush to sell it or anything, especially since this isn't really adventurable right now. The van is still kind of the adventure machine that we're making work. But anyway, all that to say, we wanted a little more space. Now I could make do with not much room. Like I'm the kind of guy that like, I wouldn't mind living in a tiny house. I like rooftop tent camping. Ashley likes a little more room to spread out. So it was almost more of a, if Ashley and the family are gonna go, I wanna make them really comfortable. And this is an important aspect for a lot of you guys, is just don't force them to fit into your box of adventure. My box is much more minimal, much more roughing it. Ashley does not like that as much. She does occasionally, and she did more before we had a newborn baby, but now with the small child, and then we may, I don't know, I forget if I just talked about it, but Ashley and I probably want to have one more as well. So then that'll grow like even bigger than that. But anyway, with the little babies and stuff, Ashley just wants a little more room, a little more creature comforts. Enter the bus. Okay, so like I said earlier, I had been shopping for something similar for a while. Originally, I wanted something wider. So the main limitations in a van is in the size department is the interior width. This thing is basically 8 feet, like 7'9" or 7'10" or something from inside wall to inside wall. Whereas in a van, it's less than 6 feet. So you have a lot more width, but this thing also has more length as well. All right, guys, we gotta step back in time here. The family adventure vehicle. I just spent 20 to 30 minutes rambling on about like why I'm so stoked on this, why I got it. And that's way too long for most of you guys to listen to. So I'm gonna try and truncate it. I have talked on it on the channel. I was thinking about getting a Class C, a small Class C based on like one of the Econoline type chassis, and then 4-wheel drive converting it. That was still very much in contention, but you're spending a decent amount of money. If you get something used and older, it's not as nice. It's just kind of old and janky inside, which means I'd probably have to gut it anyway. And then if I wanted a 4x4 converted, U-Joint Off-Road does some really cool stuff. And that's what I was gonna do. That's what I've talked about doing. The Econoline vehicles don't come 4-wheel drive from the factory. You can't get them forward. They're just rear-wheel drive. So you convert them, you lift them, bigger tires, throw a front axle, transfer case, all the stuff to get them to 4-wheel drive. All of that costs about 25 grand. This whole thing right here, this whole thing was 15 grand. So anyway, so I was looking at getting a Class C, lifting it, doing all this stuff. And I was like, I'm just gonna gut it anyway, and I'm gonna rework it. And I probably won't have like windows and vents in the right place. So I'll be patching up stuff. So I was like, I don't really wanna go that route either. Like I don't have money to burn where I could get a brand new, ideally brand new one, you know, 4-wheel drive converted, and that'd be dope. But I would be doing a lot of stuff. So then I was like looking at U-Haul trucks, U-Haul box trucks. I was this close to buying a U-Haul, and then I didn't do it, and I was this close to buying another box truck that was like an old furniture moving company, like so close. But during this whole time, the last couple months, I was researching box trucks based on the F series platform as well. And let me tell you a little bit. Try to make it quick. So the Econoline, E350, E450 or equivalents, they just come in rear-wheel drive these days. And all of the modern ones only come in gas engines, no diesel engines. And that makes sense. They're work trucks. They're not usually towing a whole lot. They're just kind of hauling crap around, and I get it. But you get the diesel. This is the 6.7 Power Stroke. It's literally twice as powerful, if not more, than some of these gas engines. And I wanted that power. There's never been a time in my life where I've been like, you know what, I just want a little less power. So I wanted that power. And the F series, you can get them 4x4 from the factory. You can't get those in the Econolines. So for the, I'm actually just looking here. Look at this thing. It's pretty ghetto looking, but check out what I just got. My friends at ALPHAREX, the boys over there, sent me the blacked out Nova Series headlights. I didn't put them in yet because I might have to drop the bumper. I don't know, but this yellowed out, crappy output headlights, these are going away. I may paint the whole truck, and I'm gonna kind of update it. We'll get into that more later, but I was looking at it and I was like, oh gosh, I can't wait to get these in. This is the first mod. These guys, ALPHAREX, my boys, are the people that send the first thing out for the truck. So anyway, those headlights are going on. Sorry, little distraction. By the next video, I'll have those on. So anyway, this bus, F550. So I was like, okay, 25 grand to convert. an E350 and I'm still dealing with the gas engine that I don't want. Sorry, my focus is a little weird here. I kind of canceled on that, and then I said, I'm gonna start searching for something based on the F550 platform. And originally I was really thinking about getting a F450, F550 box truck. You know, again, those things that like they're furniture moving trucks. I didn't want to step up into anything crazier than that, but the F550 platform, super beefy, super robust. There's a million of them out there. There's a million 6.7 engines. It's so well documented. There's so many modifications. So many people know how to work on them. Not myself. This is a first to me, so I'm going to have to do a lot of learning. But I was pretty set on that platform. There are Ram platforms out there that do a similar thing, even fewer like Chevys or GMCs, but Ford is definitely the king in that world. So I kind of had my heart set then on the F550 platform. Problem is, most of these things, buses, box trucks, cargo trucks, all of those things, nobody's paying the extra $6,000, $7,000 up front for the diesel engine because they're not really utilizing it to tow. These aren't usually tow vehicles. So diesel is a little more maintenance. You have more power, but you don't really need the power to move this thing necessarily, or that's kind of what their thought process is. So not many diesels of these kind of vehicles out there, even fewer four-wheel drive vehicles like this out there. So it's really hard to find a four-wheel drive box truck. And it is next to impossible to find a diesel four-wheel drive box truck. They're out there, but I know it's very hard, at least in the last 2 months of me searching, to find one. This was literally, I think, the only one. There was a couple other that were just like completely thrashed, but this was basically the only one that I found. So if I found one that met that criteria that was a box truck, I probably would have got it and done a cutout. I really wanted a pass through. So anyway, that's kind of what led up to this. And this has the Power Stroke and it has factory four-wheel drive. Ding, ding, ding. It's kind of a unicorn vehicle. I tried to really find some information on this. It's a company that makes these buses, Glaval. It's on the mud flap down there. And this is the smallest one. Like I can't even find information on this length. I think this was like a custom, not a custom one-off, because I've seen in my research found others like this out there, but I think it was like a limited run and I had to use the Wayback Machine to find any information on it. But I finally, my Google Jiu-Jitsu that I have, I found some, is basically an upfitter that special ordered the diesels and the four-wheel drive and the shorter wheelbase and the smaller bus. And they were sold for like extreme passenger move, like oil and mining operations and stuff like that. So this was kind of a specialty built vehicle. I'm not positive, but from my Google, that's kind of what led me to believe it, which makes sense because again, most of them were an option with diesel or four-wheel drive. This is diesel four-wheel drive. Anyway, all that to say, diesel four-wheel drive, sick. Not overly large. So I was looking at the small Class Cs and I really wanted one that was about 26 foot length. This 26 foot is about basically the smallest one that most people sell. There's a couple kind of specialty ones that are small, but I don't even know if you could get a current gen one. They kind of did some runs of them in previous generations, like the Mini Winnie is a popular one. But anyway, I wanted short. So just to put things into perspective, an EarthRoamer is like 30 feet. This is about 26 feet from the front of the front bumper to the back of the back bumper. So I think most people would probably classify this as like a 25-foot vehicle. My Sprinter, which is the smallest Sprinter you can get, is 20 feet. I think it's 19 foot something. So it's about 5 feet longer than my Sprinter. Now the long Sprinter, the extended wheelbase extended, is about this long, and this is about the length of a crew cab, so a four-door, 8-foot bed, F250, F350, F450. I think those, again, four-door with the long bed, I think they're about 23 feet. So this has about 2 feet in length over a relatively it's a big truck, obviously, but a relatively standard truck. So it's not ridiculously large, but it's big. The other thing I was looking for is not a crew cab. I'm actually going to build seat belt, beefed up seating inside
So that way we'll have, like, can be sitting in a dinette and whatever for longer road trips. I'll get into more of that later as the build kind of progresses, but I wanted to not waste box length with a back seat that we wouldn't be living and hanging out in and just driving in. Ashley really wanted, she was really stoked on like the RV seating in the back that had seatbelts. She's like really excited to be traveling the country in a home rather than just in the small, you know, they're big back seats, but rather than in the back seat of a truck. So this was perfect. Perfect. So before I kind of walk you through it, the plans are basically a full RV build. I'll show you inside. The interior's trashed. Again, this thing was 15 grand. Bought it in Miami, Florida, sight unseen, kind of a gamble. Had no idea whether this thing would work out for me or if it would just get here and not even run. So this was one of the biggest gambles of my life, but I thought, 15 grand, I could fix it up and sell it for more than that, I'm sure, here in Colorado, especially diesel four-wheel drive. We could turn it into, start a side business as like a ski shuttle service or something. So I was gonna make it work no matter what, but luckily it runs. There is a check engine light. I did do a diagnostic. It is an issue with the temperature sensor or something in the DEF. So that may be a huge expense. I don't really know yet, but it runs, four-wheel drive works. Believe it or not, a lot of people are like, well, you need four-wheel drive. I go, well, you don't live in the snow. Literally, this driveway, when there's snow on it, if it gets a little icy, you can't make it out in two-wheel drive. You can't. I had this thing in two-wheel drive. I couldn't even make it out of here. And that was a golden opportunity to test four-wheel drive. It has manual locking hubs. Put it into four-wheel drive. We got like 10, 12 inches of snow out here. Up effortlessly, and then it carved through this field like it was nobody's business in four-wheel drive. So I was, at that moment, I said, I made the right call. So right now it's just pretty much factory wheels, tires, skinny little small things. My plan, I think I'm gonna do it, is I'm gonna super single convert this. What that means is right now it's a dually in the rear. Companies sell these crazy wheels that basically are super heavy duty rated, and you can usually run the same on the front and the back, so you can carry a full-size spare, swap it out. You can basically mount it with a spacer or flip the wheel to mount it on the front axle versus the rear, and that gives you kind of a linear tracking. And then you put a big, basically heavy duty like military or agriculture tire on it, you know, those Continentals or those Goodyears that you see. And I think I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna talk too much on the specifics because I haven't quite nailed it down, but I think before too long, you're gonna see this with a small lift on 40s or 41-inch tires, and that'll be insane. Basically, it'll turn it into a poor man's EarthRoamer. So that's kind of the plan. It came already, again, the upfit. Again, I don't know what they used them for exactly, like who bought them or what, but it already had this big bumper on here. It's kind of redonkulous. This is, I don't know if you can tell, this thing sticks out like over a foot. It's on there. I'll probably keep it now unless, you know, I get some bumper partner that wants to come on board. There's no winch mounting option though, so I do want a winch, but you know, I could throw light bars or whatever in this bumper. It's kind of cool, you know, it's big and robust, and I can just like plow the world in it, but this thing's not in great condition. It was a Southern truck all of its life, so there's actually, luckily, not much rust or anything, nothing concerning underneath, but there's like fitment issues. Like this is a gap that just goes right in. I'm not really sure what happens when it rains. This water goes into here through this gap, I'm sure, and I don't know if it drains or collects or, so I'm gonna have to rip a lot of this stuff up. There's obviously a lot of dings and dents on the outside. Again, undercarriage looks pretty good. I notice there's like a crack in the fiberglass there that's no good. Has a back compartment here that was used for, you know, storage of gear separate from the living area. Whether I leave this door intact or do something, you know, rip that out and do something else back here, I'm not really sure yet. There's no hitch on here at all, so this thing has never towed in its entire life, which, you know, is cool because towing puts a fair amount of wear and tear on your stuff. The other thing I noticed in pictures, which I was excited about, you see what we got here? dual fuel. So this is outfitted already for like longer range travel. I got to look into exactly what capacity and how that whole system works, but these things are broken off, so you can tell it's kind of in a state of neglect. Did have an air conditioner at some point. It's gone. The fans on the inside are still there, but the AC unit gone. This is death here. But yeah, that's what we got going on. On the outside, the inside is where things get a little more, I mean, the whole thing's beat up, you know, hood's dented in. It may have had a hard use life. It does have 175 or something, 170 some thousand miles on it, which is a fair bit. I don't shy away from higher mileage vehicles. Obviously I have a handful in the fleet that are at 200 plus, but, and then diesels go for a long time. And I know the 6.7s run to 500,000 miles regularly with maintenance. I have no idea the maintenance history on this, but usually fleet vehicles, like, they're decently maintained. So that's another, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not a diesel expert. It sounds okay. So then we come in here. Unfortunately, these doors are broken. So I got to manually open them. The control is here. So it does stuff up here, but like this whole handle is like broken off up here. So I need to figure out whether I want to maintain these doors or do something custom. But the only issue is it's kind of low there. You see, this little area is lower than the rest. So what I'll probably do is hack this off level with the rest, lose the bottom step, and either modify these doors, cut them down and kind of re-put them back together taller, or I just rip this whole door system out and install something else in here. But inside is where it gets quite ghetto, which makes me think, you know, this wasn't in service with like a legit bus operation. This was like, you know, rugged people using this thing maybe. But we got some missing panels, you know, panels kind of falling out here, stuff duct taped on. This whole, all the stuff for the air conditioner is gone. What I'm probably gonna do is like literally fully gut this thing, just like rip everything out, roof panels out, everything. And like I said before, it's actually, you gain almost 3 feet once I'm gonna rip this wall out and just open it to that back storage compartment there. So what we'll be left with is, I believe it's about 15 feet from here to the back, which is a ton of room. We're about 6'5", I believe, 6'6" in height here. And then again, almost 7 feet wide, or almost 8 feet wide. We don't have the straight edges of a box truck. It's a little bit angled here for the roof, so that'll make building cabinetry and other stuff a little bit trickier. But we do have a bunch of rails already. So as I'm building seating, I'll probably try to mount into all of the existing rails here, have windows. They're just single pane, so nothing too crazy. But, you know, the other thing that's nice is if we're doing national parks and whatnot, and we have the seating here, there's gonna be great views, way more views than out of any RV that you can get. We're kind of in a national park right here, my yard. So that is the advantage of the bus is, yeah, it won't be the best for insulation or anything. We'll have to build some window covers there or, you know, figure out a solution for that. But visibility driving on the road and at national parks and anywhere pretty, you get a ton. So that's a great thing. I'll be legit bus driving this thing, not even a passenger seat. What's cool here is, like I mentioned earlier, we got 2 dogs. So we got this view, which really, you know, is for like buses have it, so you can see people, so you don't run them over as easily, which is nice. More visibility is always a good thing. But I'm probably gonna build storage under here and then a dog bed on top. So I'll have a tray or maple or both of them kind of right by my side. on my drives, and they'll have this legendary like dog window view out the side. So yeah, it looks a little goofy and weird, no doubt, but functionally, I'm actually kind of excited about my little dog bed placement here. The one thing that I saw in the photos online when I bought this thing, again, kind of sight unseen, well, I didn't see it in real life, but they did have some photos of it, and they did assure me it was running at least, was this. I was like, oh, sick. Because I want to build a big custom roof rack system. You know, I'll probably throw a little bit of solar and stuff up there, but I want to build like a rooftop deck. And I was like, oh, it's got a built-in hatch. Perfect. Well, unfortunately, this is all broken to crap. It leaks, like the outside and inside is like fully just like silicone. This is no longer an emergency exit at all, though it does have emergency exit windows on both sides. But this is essentially sealed shut, but it still leaks actually. So this was a bit unfortunate to find that. So what I'll have to do, I'm gonna take all these panels out, kind of see what I got going on under here, rip everything out, see what's insulated and what's not. Up here, I see that there is some spray foam already in place. So we'll see what we got going on there. But basically rip all these lights out, rip these out. Again, the AC is no longer functional. This is just a blower. So this will come out and pull all the seats out of this thing and just kind of get it down to the bones, see where I can insulate, what makes sense, you know, insulate the floor, insulate the walls, insulate the ceiling a little bit. Again, I have these giant windows that are going to defeat some of the purpose of insulating, but I'm still going to get some insulation in here and then just kind of figure out a layout and a floor plan that I want to go with. What I'm thinking like initially is dinette here, so forward facing, rear facing, build a system where I can put rear facing seats, car seats in here, but they'll face the front of the dinette. So normally someone sitting here facing this way will be, you know, sitting in a rear seat. I'll put the rear seats in here and just, you know, build out something that'll be like way more than dot rated to secure all that stuff in and have a dinette here. I'm thinking on this side because it's really, when I was thinking about it, I was like, this is probably the safest spot. This is a big vehicle, and the only thing that could do this a whole lot of damage is a semi or something oncoming traffic into my lane. So that means me probably, but really this seat that's furthest to the left edge, they're gonna take the brunt of that force. Granted, I never wanna get into an accident, but I'm like, the safest place is actually probably where you're not gonna get sideswiped by oncoming traffic. So I'm kind of leaning towards, again, safety of my family is the utmost priority. That there, but I may do like a bench over here for kind of like overflow seating sort of on this side. And so, sorry, my camera's like struggling with focus today. I don't know why I have such an expensive camera that can't even focus. But yeah, I mean, probably bench, sleeper, then like a kitchenette. And it's going to be a relatively minimal build. Like I'm not trying to go super, super, super crazy. I want to keep this thing easily maintainable, easily buildable. I don't want to go through a 1 hour winterizing process every time. I don't need 400 outlets. I don't need outside speakers. I don't need all this crazy stuff. So it's going to be a pretty minimal build that will both, you know, help me build it faster, but also be kind of easier to maintain. Whenever we're taking this out, our goal isn't to spend a ton of time in here. Our goal is to spend a ton of time out there, but I'll try to make it nice in here as well. But anyway, super stoked on this whole thing. It's super ghetto and beat up. But if anyone is tracking like current F550 prices, you can't get an F550 for 15 grand, like a 2010 plus, something with the 6.7, especially like if this was just a chassis truck and it had diesel 4-wheel drive and nothing on the back, it would probably be 10, 20 grand more than this. So I think I got this at a really good deal because it's kind of a weird thing to try to sell and it was in really bad shape. So that worked out better for me because I'm just gonna gut it anyway. So that's the project. This is episode 1 of turning a party bus into a home, or
I don't know, something. Sorry, my best friend, the UPS guy, just came. So that's the build, and I hope you're as excited about it as I am, because I'm pretty excited. Not really excited about all the work I'm gonna have to put into it, but I'm gonna be learning a lot about the Super Duty platform, especially the diesel platform. Oh man, I just realized, look at this. Is this how they fix cracks in fiberglass with zip ties, spray painted silver? Interesting. Anyway, I think I'll be in for some surprises once I get inside this, behind the paneling and whatnot, and we'll see what the future holds. Hopefully nothing too major there. Again, I think I'm gonna do custom roof rack / rooftop deck type deal. So get subscribed, follow along if you wanna watch the process. I'll document kind of the whole build. I'll talk more on kind of the thinking that goes into like layout and how I'm gonna do it. I'm still not sure if I'll do like battery array and more standard kind of RV build out. Probably I won't have a generator though. So like big battery array with a big inverter and DC chargers and alternator hookup, or like try to keep it a little more minimal, you know, like EcoFlow, Bluetti, Goal Zero type of system in there. But then I'll need dedicated DC panels and I don't know yet. There's a lot of thinking to do, you know, what kind of toilet I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do a whole like black tank setup, and I'll probably do like a very minimal like gray tank, probably just like 2 water container kind of things. And yeah, again, pretty minimal, but also really excited. If you're just like a 6'7" expert in the Denver area, have a shop and want me to bring it in, let me know. Have a buddy Austin at True Auto that I believe he has a 6'7". I know he's got a F250 or 350 of his own. He said he'll take a look at it for me, but I kind of want to get it baseline. Basically, whenever I get a new vehicle, whether that's a Lexus or like the Golf R, I kind of try to, unless I have like very detailed service records of it, I'll try to baseline it with fluids and filters and all that kind of stuff. So I'll do that in this thing as well. So I've been kind of like reading what the important things to do, what the things that can give me issues are, what can go out on me, what I really need to check. So I'll probably kind of baseline it, make sure the engine's not gonna blow on me or anything too soon, and then get into the build. I want to have this done at least by summer, because Ashley and I want to do like a big road trip where again we see some national parks and stuff. So the progress on this in some capacity will begin almost right away, and hopefully it'll be in a workable, runnable, drivable, adventurable state by summer. I don't see that as a huge issue. It fits in here, fits in my big barn. Just, it's not in there right now because I got other crap in there. But I'll be able to work on it in there, which is nice all winter long. How much Ashley's gonna like me working on this, I don't know. It's kind of my job though. So let me know, should we name her? What should we do? What should I paint it or wrap it? What should I not miss on the interior? What do you want to see out of this thing? I mean, I will take it into consideration. I'm going to build it however I want, but maybe you guys give me some great ideas that I didn't think of, or just you let me know an angle that you'd like to see me hit, and I will do that. Sweet. All right, guys. Well, I think this video is actually longer than I intended anyway, like they always are. So I'm going to wrap it up there. And until next time, take care.